I've got to say, I'm looking at the text of what Ten Hag said, and I would argue, Simon, that it's no four-act play from him. Defending his player, Christian Eriksen, against a pretty reckless challenge that has put him out. Andy Carroll's challenge put him out until the end of April, beginning May. I don't see any four-act play in this. I think football has to set limits, restrictions that protect the players. What football wants is the best players to be available on the pitch. That is more than reasonable to say about his man Eriksen.
And that's fine. But then we need to move on to the next one. And if he'd have been given license, he'd have moved on to the next one and to the next one. And the bottom line is that I don't think it can be argued that on the whole, 99% of the time, football insulates and overprotects players against what the game has evolved from and to. So at which point are we going to say that situations like this, which are the exception, cannot be used to classify the game as an overall? He's saying that overall the game is about putting the best players on the pitch. The game's recognised that. Yeah, exceptions happen, and he's making a judgment that it doesn't do enough. So you get it right every time in your life, do you?
No, but I think it's worth it that he says what he said. To be honest, Danny, he's a Premier League manager of what's regarded as one of the most elite clubs in world football. This is a tackle that doesn't belong on the football pitch.
Yeah, and he's right. He's probably asked a question. So we qualified that earlier. He's probably asked a question, so he's going to have to answer it.
Yeah.
What we're saying is that Simon and I are agreeing on is that once he's dealt with it and said, yeah, it was a damn bad tackle, we don't want to see that. Then you don't not then start going on some conspiracy theory about, this continually happening in a league where we can't even tackle properly anymore without getting a red. Bringing up the elbow at Palace, it becomes whiny.
Dan's a Manchester United fan. Dan, what do you think of what Ten Hag said? Was he making a four-act play of it, as Lord Jordan is suggesting?
Hi, Jim. Hi, Simon. Love the show.
Morning. Thanks, Dan.
Morning.
Danny. Anyway, I'm hearing what you're saying about Ten Hag.
Yeah.
And Simon and Danny were saying that Ten Hag should just be getting on with it. Thank you very much. Sorry, I'm just selling fruit and veg at work.
Go on.
Okay,
Get rid of that cauliflower. You've had it for days. Go on.
So in the first half of Ten Hag's press conference, when he was asked about it, he said, well, this is football and we've got to expect these things.
How did he?
It's happened. We must move on. That was the first half of the press conference. The second half was embargoed, and I guess that's a bit that you're now referencing. But it just seems like either you're unaware or just being a little bit willfully ignorant.
No, that's not fair, because we said that we said that to characterise it, we have to understand the full extent of what he said and the framework of what he was asked. We then went on to turn around and say that's fine, that he makes an observation about the situation with Andy Carroll. But why do we need to lead on to the situation about Palace? Because he can go on and on and on, and we can also turn the dial inward and say, well, what about what your players do then? So that's the point we were making.
Okay, Dan, listen, good luck selling the fruit and veg.
And if he did say that,
with a couple of lemons here. Here's Liam, a Manchester United fan. Liam, what do you want to say?
As opposed to a plum.
Thanks. Ten Hag, where do you stand in it?
Just a quick one. I hate the moaning from managers, but that was the second time he was asked a question.
Okay.
First time he was asked a question, he didn't particularly moan.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's not sort of on. And then a couple of questions later, the interviewer brought it back up, and that's when he sort of had a bit more of a moan.
But again,
well done to Ten Hag, because he didn't really moan.
But I put the point to you. I put the point to you. The transcript we've got talks about Andy Carroll, talks about that, and then whilst he's pontificating and ruminating, actually, whilst I'm wondering and navel-gazing, I also want to bring in what happened at Crystal Palace. That's the point we're saying, going, okay, well, you've made your point. You've landed your point about the fact that there's more protection required, albeit that's slightly ridiculous, because protection is beyond the level that we've ever expected in football before. And now you're off saying, and this, and that's where we're saying, well, hang on a second, you're making it into a four-act play. You've landed your point about Andy Carroll.
Okay, let me get this right. You're accusing somebody of pontification.
Well, pontification? Well, yeah, the manager in this instance. I'm saying that you're taking it beyond the realms of what was necessary.
Okay.
But you journalists do that to people. This is what you journos do.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.